When will the Subcontrabassoon have an orchestral premiere? If I had made a video with that title a year ago, it would have been pure clickbait. A catchy question that would launch a vague rant that could have been drastically shortened to, "It may not happen for a long time, because it will depend upon the right orchestra programming the right piece at the right time." But this video isn't just clickbait, because the question in the title now has a definite answer. January 7th, 2023, at the Symphony of Northwest Arkansas concert about 1 week after this video goes live. So if a quick answer is all you're here for, then I hope you'll check out one of the other videos on this channel before disappearing back into the algorithm. But I think a lot of you would appreciate a little more information about why and how this unexpected event is happening so soon. This concert will feature 3 works: William Grant Still's Mother and Child for string orchestra, Leonard Bernstein's Chichester Psalms for choir and orchestra, and Henryk Górecki's Symphony No. 3, the Symphony of Sorrowful Songs for solo soprano and orchestra. The first 2 pieces have no woodwinds at all, so it's the last piece on which we'll be using subcontrabassoon. The instrumentation for Górecki's Symphony No. 3 is more than a little odd. 4 flutes, 2 doubling piccolo, 4 clarinets, 4 bassoons, 2 of whom play contrabassoon exclusively, 4 horns, 4 trombones, solo voice, harp, piano, and strings. But while that list was a bit odd, it wasn't quite odd enough to call for subcontrabassoon, an instrument that was no more than a myth when the piece was written in 1976. So how can we justify using subcontrabassoon when that's not what Górecki indicated in the score? Furthermore, how can the subcontrabassoon prototype in its current state possibly play a full part in a live performance? Well, the first question is going to necessarily be subject to taste. We will never know whether Górecki would have approved of our change or of the instrument as a whole. We can offer justifications, but not certainty. But one of the benefits of live performance is that there's a bit more room to try new things. We're not laying down a permanent recording to communicate the composer's original intent to generations to come. We're offering a mostly regional audience a one-time experience. Consider the most famous bassoon-related instrument substitution in the standard orchestral repertoire. In Tchaikovsky's Sixth Symphony, if you look at the score, you'll see just 2 clarinets and 2 bassoons. But in a performance or recording, it's reasonably likely that you'll see or hear an additional bass clarinet. This is because there is one passage in the first bassoon part that many people, myself included, feel is much more effective on bass clarinet. But before this became accepted performance practice, one ensemble had to be the first to take the plunge and try it out, the first to see if the hypothetical musical benefits of this substitution were actually borne out in performance. So what are the hypothetical musical benefits of using subcontrabassoon on this piece? Well, let's look at this passage from rehearsal 19 in the first movement. Here, the 2 contrabassoons are playing in unison with each other and in octaves with the 2 bassoons. Together with the horns, they're establishing a pedal around which the strings and voice play some slow, dense, ascending chordal lines. Notably, even the lowest divisi of contrabasses eventually join in the moving line while the winds remain steady. A similar passage happens a bit later at rehearsal 23. These passages are clearly a big deal, and I am confident saying so because they are literally the only thing the 2 bassoons and 2 contrabassoons play for the entire piece. 8 notes in a 55-minute symphony. The horns have some 4-part writing in the first and second movements, and an orchestra carries 2 bassoons by default, so unisons for these instruments isn't too strange. But bringing in a second contrabassoon just to play 8 notes in exact unison with the first contrabassoon, it's a bit extravagant. And due to wave cancellation, it won't even be terribly effective at increasing projection. It is our hope that by covering the second contrabassoon part on subcontrabassoon, sounding an additional octave lower, we can honor the presumed purpose of using 2 contrabassoons, extra emphasis for a pivotal moment in the piece, while also providing some additional benefits, namely giving a slightly more robust foundation for the moving low strings, all while not overpowering the all-important voice line. Of course, while we do believe this substitution has musical justification, it's impossible to ignore the practical justifications. Sona is one of the only orchestras in the world that has easy access to both a contrabassoon and a subcontrabassoon. And we just happened to program a work that could benefit from the extra octave of range, and which has a part simple enough that the prototype in its current level of completion can play it live. If I had been quietly conniving behind the scenes, I could not have arranged a better opportunity, and I am so grateful that our music director, Paul Haas, was willing to take this plunge to orchestrally premiere a brand new instrument in the city in which it was designed and built, Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is going to be a fantastic show. We have 3 rarely programmed works whose intensity is based upon emotion rather than raw decibels, featuring the combined talents of the Symphony of Northwest Arkansas, Sona singers, Samuel Burrow as soloist on the Bernstein, and Miriam Khalil as soloist on the Goretzky. This will not be a subcontrabassoon feature. If the orchestra does its job right, the audience will be too captivated by Miss Khalil's voice to notice what that strange guy with 40 feet worth of instrument is doing in the back. But if any of you are within driving distance of Northwest Arkansas and want to hear a great orchestra program that just so happens to have a small, unassuming subcontrabassoon part, I hope you'll visit sonamusic.org and find out more. In the meantime, I have to go practice my subcontrabassoon long tones. Have a great day.